Hey, it's Maria here from the Female Photographer Society, and today I have 3 Lightroom hacks for you to make your life easier. So let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen here and go to Adobe Lightroom. Okay, so we're in Lightroom here, and hack number 1 is if you are playing with your sliders, and this is often how I edit my photos. Well, obviously I don't want them to look like this all overexposed, but I'll often just play with the sliders and yeah, just decide what looks good in the moment. But then sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, that looks terrible. I just want to reset this one and maybe this one. And so what you'll see I did there is I actually double clicked. And if you double click on these sliders, they will reset. So sometimes you don't want to reset all of them, right? But you just want to reset one of them. So that's how you do it. You just double click on that little circle and it will go back to where it started. You could also do it when you're color grading. If you move, move your midtones out to a more red color, or your shadows out to a bluish color, and you're like, actually that looks horrible, you can just double click that little circle and that will go back to the middle, and same there. So how cool is that? That is hack number 1. Okay, so number 2 is the presets here. So I didn't know this for a little while, but you can actually go into the presets and it will analyze your photo and give you a selection here, which can sometimes be great if you're really stuck and you're like, I just don't know what to do with this photo. It can really give you some inspiration. And sometimes I like to do this and maybe just start with this, say, that's actually a little dramatic for me, but just for example, start with this, and you can see on the sliders and everything what has been done to the photo, and you can add in your own changes. If you're a bit like, oh, it's a little bit dark, I might just lighten it up a bit, go there, and then yeah, sometimes it can just be a good starting point. If you want something really dramatic, and you just don't know where to start, then yeah, you could always be like, oh, I really like this one. Start with that, and yeah, play around with it, make it your own. And it's also a good way to learn too, like, oh, I really like this one. How is that achieved? And you can go and look at all the sliders, like, okay, so the exposure was just a tiny bit taken back, contrast up just a tiny bit, but then the whites have been brought way down, the blacks have been brought way up. Yeah, you can just go through and have a look at all the sliders and effects. Okay, so I hope that is helpful. It is definitely helpful for me. But I believe if you want to reset back to where you were, then you just click this button here. There we go. And then it's back to how it was. Sorry, it took me a little while to remember where that button was. Okay, so that's presets. And my last hack for you is if you want to change the colors around a bit and play with the colors to a bit of color grading, or play with, where is it, the color mixer. So I usually make sure this little drop down is on hue here, and then you just click this little guy here and go over to the photo and touch or click on the photo, and then you can slide the slider either way and it changes the hue of that color. It's like a color picker, and it picks the color that you click on, and you can change everything that's in that color range, which is quite cool. If you want to go for something crazy, I could make this sky turquoise, and then you don't need to click anything else. You just go to another color that you might want to change. So I might want to just like change this orange to like more of a reddy browny kind of a color. Yeah, so, and you can also play with these other ones that way. If I want more saturation in the sky, say I've got this picker on still, I can go here and drag the saturation up or down. Yeah, and that's really cool. So obviously if you had a color that was like way overpowering or something in your photo too, you could use that. So I'll use this photo as an example. Say, for example, like I didn't want this yellow color in here. I just wanted it to be, I don't know, not a bright yellow. You could go to saturation here in the drop down like I just did before. You're on the color picker, and then you can pick the color and then just drag the saturation right down. So it will affect anything in the photo that has that yellow tone to it. So just be aware of that. Like, yeah, if there's any yellows, you can see if there was yellow in the sign here, it's taken the yellow out of that too. And it's kind of taken a little bit of the yellow tone out of the landscape a little bit, as you can see in the trees. So just be careful if you're doing that. If you just wanted to do that, but you could mask it, but that is a lesson for another time. So those 3 hacks I'll just go through again. The first one was you can reset your sliders by just double clicking them. The second one was using these presets and getting Lightroom to analyze your photo and do recommended presets. Just a note on that, you do have to have your photos in the cloud for that, because you can now have your files locally on your desktop and just access them through there. The photos have to be on the cloud to do the recommended presets. Otherwise, you can only do premium and yours. I find the recommended ones that Lightroom does way better. And you might see here as well, you can just choose, you can filter them subtle, strong, black and white, cool, for what your preferences are. And the last tip that I had was, I'll just get rid of this, was with this color mixer here, how you can choose hue, saturation, luminance, color, play around with them all, and have this little color picker and just change the colors around if you want to. Okay, so that is it for today. Those are my 3 tips for working on Lightroom to make your life easier. If you liked this video and you would like some more tips, either give a thumbs up to this video or write a comment below. And before you go, I am launching the Female Photographer Society for the first time soon. So if you want to be the first to know all about it and to get in as a founding member, then go to www.femalephotographersociety.com and you can click become a member, and then you'll just sign up for alerts so you can be the first to know when we are opening and we are launching, which is super exciting. So I will put that in, I'll link that up below, and I can't wait to see you next time.